Hey everybody, welcome to the hangar deck. Wanted to do a sort of an unboxing. It's not really an unboxing of a new kit by any means. It's actually an unboxing of this kit right here, the Accurate Miniatures SB2U Vindicator. So if you don't know, Vindicator was an early dive bomber that joined the fleet, about 2 to 4 years before World War II. It was pretty obsolescent by the time World War II broke out for the United States, and it quickly went into the backwater, if you will, the background of World War II. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to introduce you to Accurate Miniature kits. Now, I have to say right at the very beginning, Accurate Miniature is no longer a company. They went out of business here a while back, but a lot of their molds went to companies like Hobby Boss. And I have built one Hobby Boss model, and I have to tell you, buyer beware. Do your research, go to ScaleMates, find out where the Hobby Boss kit came from, do your reviews before you plunk down any money. I'm not disparaging anybody, I'm just giving you my experience. Okay, so let's look at this Accurate Miniatures kit. It comes in a fairly generous box, pretty good sized box. And we're going to reposition the camera here just a little bit. Hopefully don't fall over. And we're going to look and see what's in the box. So, what's in the box? Anybody know what that movie's from? Or what that line's from, what movie? Okay, so here's our first bag of parts. Some people call these sprues. I grew up calling it a parts tree. So we'll look at this first. Open this baby up here. One of the things I always try to do whenever I open a sprue or a parts bag or a parts tree, open that bag up and then take a look at that bag and make sure there's not any little bitty parts left in there before I toss this. You can see there's quite a bit of information on here, tree number. Okay, so there you go. You see right there, it says tree number. It doesn't say sprue number, it says tree number. So maybe, is it true or is it sprue or is it tree? Well, there you go. Okay, so we have our fuselage halves here. You'll notice that the Vindicator was a 2-bladed prop, not a 3-bladed, not a 4-bladed. So that's something to look at there. And go back and reposition this again. Sorry, hope I don't make you too dizzy. And we'll hold these up. So we have our fuselage halves here. If you look on this side, there's quite a bit of detailing. I don't know if it shows up. Yeah, there you go. We have a couple of different cowling flaps that we could go. We can go with the open flaps, cowling flaps, or closed, depending on what you want to do. So that is tree number, letter, doesn't say. Okay, I won't worry about that. So we'll set that right there for now. Look at our next parts tree. And looks like we've got all kinds of sundry items that would go mostly on the inside. There's our tires there. Notice that they're flattened on one side. So that's kind of a nice little adder. Whenever you're doing a kit, you can do the full round or you can do the flat on one side. And then we have some interior parts here that will go in. That's very nice, really nice. Most of the Accurate Miniature kits that I have built have been very, very good kits. So we will set this aside here for now. And we'll move along to the next parts tree. And boys and girls, what do we do before we toss our bag? We make sure we don't have anything in it. Now, some of you guys may be screaming at the camera saying, I keep my bag and I do this and I do that. That is fantastic. If that's what you do, that is great. That is exactly what is right for you if that's what you do. Okay. This is the horizontal stabilizer and the ordnance rack or ordnance tree. So we have drop tanks here, of course, and we have our standard general purpose, probably 1,000-pound bomb that was ever so used in World War II. Also have some smaller bombs here. I think those were 100 or 250 in size. Okay, set this one over here. We have one more parts tree, and I'm not even going to open this one up. I'll just leave it in the bag. It's basically the top and bottom part of the wing. Might show you here. I think you can see. Oh, can't see it on the camera, so we're going to have to open it up. And I already know there's no small parts loose in here because there are no small parts. This is just all wing parts. So what I want to show you is here's your landing gear compartments right here. And then if you look right above here, this is the inside of the top wing, and you can see some ribs right in here where you're going to paint that so that when you look into the landing gear wheel well, you can see the top of the bottom of the wing, top of the wing, top of the wheel well. There you go. Okay. Put that over there. Now, if Accurate Miniatures was still a active company, then probably I would write those numbers down in case I ever had to order a part. I've had to do that with a couple of different kit manufacturers for whatever reason. Usually it's decals that you have to order, and I had to do that with Revel, and fantastic service. They came right in the mail, no big deal. Okay, so you might think that's it, but then you would think, no, wait a minute, where's the decals? Where's the clear parts? Where's the instructions? Yes, I do use instructions. Okay, if we look at this right here, it looks like the bottom of the box, but it is a false bottom. This is very, very common for Accurate Miniatures. So we're going to reach in here and we're going to pull out this false bottom, and lo and behold, we have this beautiful picture. And this says this is the, well, you can read it, but it's from the USS Wasp in Malta in 1942. So Malta, that would be in the Atlantic area. So a lot of people, a lot of the battle for the Atlantic really began to turn. Now, the Wasp was not an escort carrier, but the Battle of the Atlantic really began to turn when the U.S. Navy introduced what became known as escort carriers or jeep carriers. And these were small flat tops. They were called CVEs, C being carrier, V being fixed wing, E being escort, CVE. The sailors, never to be outdone by terminology, used to say that CVEs stood for combustible, vulnerable, and expendable, which all of those were true. But they could make these escort carriers very fast, quickly. They could build them very quickly. And then they could be loaded with a couple of, one fighter squadron and 2 attack squadrons, SBDs, TBFs, what have you. And those CVEs could go with the convoys all the way across the Atlantic and escort them all the way. And it really turned the tide on the war in the Atlantic when that began to happen. And if they happen to lose one of those escort carriers, that's a it's a bad thing if you happen to be on one or your loved one happened to be on one. But it wasn't like losing a frontline fleet carrier. And if you do a little bit of research into World War II, I know I'm getting off the beaten path here. The United States, by the end of World War II, had a lot of aircraft carriers, fleet carriers and escort carriers combined. It was close to or over 100. That is just phenomenal. That's unbelievable. When you think about it, from December 7th, 1941 to September 2nd, 1945, that many ships of one class being built. And that's just one class. I mean, it was unbelievable. But I digress. So we took this false bottom out. We looked at a really cool picture, but what else is there? Okay, so under the false bottom, we have our decals. Aha. We have our clear parts. Oh boy. What is and look at this greenhouse here. Look at these clear parts. Look at all the panels that you have to do. I don't really want to open these up, but look at that. Look at all the panels, and you might think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to paint those each one by hand, or I'm going to have to tape them off, or I'm going to have to. I use parafilm. If you look on my channel, you'll see a video I did on parafilm. But still, all of those things take time, and it's painstaking. Now, you can order masks, canopy masks. Edward makes some, or you can continue and you can look in the bottom of your nifty Accurate Miniatures model box, and looky there. There are the canopy masks right there. That is not in every Accurate Miniatures box, but it's in a lot of them. So that's very handy. It's nice for them to do. Then we have a couple of little photo etch parts, the absolute bane of my existence, photo etch. But though I do try to use it. And last but not least are our instructions. Now, if you've never bought or never built an Accurate Miniatures kit, if you get a hold of one, you are in for a treat. The instructions are very wordy. I encourage you to read them at least once, before you start on whatever section that you're doing, because they do have a lot of information about the build. They have a lot of information about the aircraft. They tell you the things to look out for, and whatnot, and so on. And then something else that I do on almost all my builds, especially the Tamiya and Hasegawa builds, is I go through and I look on the back side and make sure there's nothing there. And then I cut this legend out that has all of your paint numbers and the colors. Now, Accurate Miniatures, they just tell you, paint it aluminum, paint it yellow, paint it black, paint it what have you. That's kind of nice. That's really nice. But if you happen to be building a model that has all these numbers, you go to the diagram and it says number 32 for that, for that assembly, and you think, oh, crap, what was 32? Well, if you cut out that little legend and you put it up someplace where you can see it, then you can reference it immediately. Or you can just flip back through the instructions. What I like to do is I like to hang my instructions up in front of where I'm working, and then I can reference them, right off the bat. Okay, so there's your instructions, several pages of instructions, and then it has a painting guide and what have you. Accurate Miniatures, very, very good kits. I sure wish they were still around. I sure wish they were still producing kits. You'll find that most of the kits that they produced were 148. I've had one Accurate Miniatures kit that just defied building. It could not be built because something weird happened with the molding, and it was a FG2, which was the very last version of the F4U Corsair. It was the bubble top, and it had been made into a racer. I don't know what happened, but mine just, it was like one fuselage was longer than the other, and it defied assembly, and really, quite seriously, broke my heart, because I really wanted to build that aircraft and had some ideas about painting it. But anyway, that was the only one that I've ever run into Accurate Miniatures kit that I had issues with. They're great kits, really great kits. If you get a chance to get one, if you go to eBay, and I'm not bidding on it, please go right ahead and bid on it. And I wish you all the luck in the world that you get it, because I think if you've never built one, you will really enjoy it. If you have built one, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, that is it from the hangar deck. I just wanted to kind of unbox this and give you an idea about Accurate Miniatures. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll do some videos as I am building this kit. I do a couple of things that are a little bit different than what some people do, like on the interior. We might come back and talk about my process on building a model. I do not 100% follow the instructions. I am not going to put on the landing gear before I paint the model. Most of you may be saying, well, that's obvious, but some of you model builders out there that are newer, you may have questions about that. Everything you ever want to know about model building, but we're afraid to ask. Well, maybe not everything, but all you Woody Allen fans, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. Okay, I have rambled on enough. I will let you guys go. This is Tom from the Hangar Deck. By the way, you can see my VAW 112 shirt. I actually did a Tiger cruise on the USS John C. Stennis, and these guys were on this ship. That was I believe that was their last cruise. They decommed this squadron. Okay, guys, enough rambling. This video is already 17 minutes long, almost 18, so I will let you go. Besides that, it's Halloween, and I am the official candy giver-outer, if that is a term. Okay, talk to you guys later. I think I've said that 12 times now, and that's it from the Hangar Deck. Happy building.